welcome 1982, 1983 NCAA women's swim dive champions and the current Williams women's swimming and diving champions. And of course, retired head coach Carl Samuelson and current head coach Steve Custer. Before we go too far, I would like to tell you that this is being put together by Michael Rodriguez in the Alumni Relations Office, who's our technical wizard tonight. We are recording the event. And one of the purposes when I talked to Sam was he wanted the alums to be able to connect with the current students. So at some point, we might even go around the room to have each alum say, since I left Williams, I did, in maybe 25 words or less. But everyone's microphone is going to be muted. When you get ready to speak, just turn it on. But because of the number of people we have, please turn it off after you've done saying your piece. So with that, I would like to ask Coach Samuelson to explain for the current Williams swimmers exactly what the conditions were, the size of the pool, and the training sessions back when the champions were beginning to become champions. So Sam, tell about LaSalle Pool.
Yeah, about the Muir Pool, Robert B.
Pool.
Muir Pool. Yeah, and the gals who were there at the time understand completely what that all meant. I guess we had probably 30 people on a team, both men's and women's teams. Very little time, very little space to work out. And eventually, I guess we had people schedule around their academic classes and come in for a workout. So at least we got one workout in a day during the semester. The saving grace was, as it is now, winter study, being able to do doubles, and we did some doubles then. And then, of course, a little recreation, a little levity over the Christmas break, going to Fort Lauderdale. And we used to say we did a lot of workouts there, but we also had a good time, I thought. I hope you all agreed with that.
How
The
many
pool
lanes
was
in that
built.
pool, Sam?
Say again?
How many lanes in that pool?
Yeah, well, the pool was built in 1927, and it was the second of 3 pools, the present pool being the third one. And they elected to build the pool 5 lanes wide. And actually it was a good thing unknowingly, because we ended up in fact, Bob Muir did this before I came to Williams. They divided the surface lane lines so that we had 4 lanes rather than 5. And so circle swimming was not quite as crowded. We weren't locking arms and stuff like that as much. And the pool prior to that was a 20-yard 4-lane pool. It had only one side of the pool had deck space, and there was only standing room. And I used to love to tell the story of back then when they had that pool, no diving. And coming from Middletown, Connecticut, I knew the coach there, Wesleyan, quite well. And he would tell me stories about Wesleyan and Williams swimming. And one story that I recall was that when they had a dual meet at Williams, they had to travel by train to Greenfield and spend the night in a hotel and then take taxis over the Mohawk Trail. They dropped the divers off in North Adams, and then the swimmers went on to the Williams pool. And as I say, there was only standing space. One side of the pool had deck space, and the starting end of the pool had a little bit of space. There were no gutters. Back then, standards were not really established in any great style. So there was no way of controlling the surface agitation from diving in and whatever. So all of that changed when they built the pool in 27. When we then came to build the present pool, what we tried to do is to provide space that could be used for multiple things, for multiple aquatic things. So instead of having a separate diving well, include that water space for other things, other aquatic things. And that, I think, has worked out well. I guess Steve could speak to that. I keep having to remember, I sometimes say to myself, the new coach. And he's not the new coach any longer. He's one of the old guard now. And he's done a hell of a job, as you all know. And we're really proud of him. And we were proud of the program as well. What else can I say?
Well, that's
You forgot to mention the hairballs, Sam.
The hairballs, I think Steve could attest to that it still is a problem. But that's the way that goes. What I'm really overwhelmed by who I see here with. I hadn't mentioned Peg. It's good to see you, and I got Rachel, and we had some really fun times back there. Let me tell you a quick story that just occurred. I don't know if you followed the Division I women's nationals a week or so ago. Really, really quick swimming, but it reminded me of the 82-83 teams in that they had a small squad. Virginia won it, as you probably know, and they had a small squad. And I was so thrilled for the coach. I'm sure that he realized that these girls rose to the occasion like, Williams women used to rise to that occasion and still do. I mean, we have a tradition that started from the get-go, and it was just wonderful to follow the events. And it seemed very much like what happened back in 82 and 3. And it looks like they're going to have another good year next year. They supposedly had recruited, from what I hear from his former coach, they've recruited the best incoming freshmen for next year in all colleges. And I don't know what that all means, but they should do really, really well. But it brought back a lot of memories. And
let's let some of the 82 team members talk about that experience, because there were some pretty impressive performances.
I would say, why don't, how about if any of you want to speak, jump in on this thing, if you would. Liz, I haven't seen you in a bit. It's really great to see you.
It's good to see you.
Speak to that a little bit. Give your impression as you remember. What is it, 40 years or so ago? That's really hard to imagine. Liz Jacks, you're not.
She's frozen. She's frozen. She's as frozen as the racing.
She's frozen. What happened?
Sam, she's as frozen as the racing stripe that our van came back with.
Here she is.
Okay.
My computer audio. is crappy. Katie,
We can hear you now, though, Liz.
Oh, you can hear me.
Yes, the Sam
Yes.
would like you to talk about the 82 championship.
Oh, it was awesome. Was that one in Canton or the one in, I want to say it was Canton,
No, hard to hear you now, though.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you, Liz.
Ohio? Okay. Okay, Katie, can you fill in? Katie Hudner,
Hello.
can you fill in? Because my computer audio is spotty.
Yeah, well, I'll speak for you, Liz, for a minute. I
Okay.
think my best memory from the meet was going into the last day and sitting with Sam and the psych sheet and going through every event and what all of us had to do in order to get enough points to win. And we just sort of said, well, all right, Kim, you're going to have to do this, and well, just win a few events as usual. And Liz, yeah, same thing there. And Kathy and everybody else just kind of do whatever you do best and let's get it done. And we just, that was a fun night for me, just planning like what we were going to do and how we were going to get it done.
Yes. If I'm correct, or correct me, but we won all 5 relays, did we not?
We did.
Yes.
And those records, well, they were better the next year, I think, by you guys as well. But records that stayed for a little bit, and that's always a test for the quality swimming that you see. And it certainly was there with this Division III program. I had no idea how it was going to go. Splitting up all the teams, creating a different situation, even New England wise, and going NESCAC. There's always a concern of it being less than what it should be, but even that rose to the occasion. There's been some damn good swimming all around. So thank God it continues to be what it's been. And you guys played a very important role, let me tell you. You're part of that history, and I'm proud of you all. It was
Jim
good
Eckert,
stuff.
you must have some memories having won 5 events at that one championship.
Well, I guess I would say overall my memories, and I'm just going to make a little broader towards what the swimming experience was like. I'd say first of all, Sammer not only put all his passion in it, but we worked really hard, but we had fun. We went to Florida. We had a good time. And we were a team. When we went to nationals, we were a group and we fed off of each other. And I think that's part of the reason why we won every relay. And I think we also had great leadership, in you, Sammer, and then, in you, Hot Rod and Liz and Katie. I mean, you guys just made it feel like we could do it. There's nothing that could stop us. There was no cap on us. And I have the fondest memories.
Oh, that's great.
And I was scared shitless.
Well, I remember you had a knee problem. You remember that? And I guess it was referred to as a cobbler's knee. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And from your breaststroke kicking and the amount of breaststroke kicking that you did. But that all corrected itself well enough for you to do all of the great things that you did. And so that was terrific.
Because you just told me to go out and do it.
Right, exactly.
That's great coaching right there.
Yeah.
Can we have the members of the 82 team just give a quick intro? Your name, what events you competed in at the NCAA championships?
Okay,
Okay,
Whoever
I'll-
wants to go.
I'll start. Whoops, wait a minute.
Yep,
okay.
go ahead, Katie. No, not hearing you.
Okay, that
There you
better?
go. Yep,
So yeah, I was a junior in 82, swam the 50 and the 100 freestyle and 5 relays. And the same thing the next year. And relays were my favorite thing. Absolutely loved it. And I'm going to agree with Kim. We had a blast. It was just a real good team experience. And I also want to say to all you current swimmers, I feel for you not having been able to have this experience this year and last year. And I hope that you get another shot at it and, hang in there. But thank you for continuing to represent Williams women's swimming as well as you have.
okay.
That's
Next,
terrific. Who else here? Who wants to go next?
anybody, go ahead. Somebody put their
Catherine
hand up.
Hartley.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, hi. I was a freshman in 3. And so I think I swam the backstroke, 50 back, 100 back. I was on the relays. I guess I swam some freestyle on the relays. I was just in awe of these people that you see, all the upperclassmen. I was so intimidated by Liz, I could barely even talk when I was. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, they just had won the year before. And so when I showed up, it was like, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. We're like Williams women and we win this. So this is how we do it. And I just sort of I don't think Sam had my best performance. I was pretty terrified, but being with these ladies was I had her performances in the years after. But this group, these seniors were amazing mentors, and I hope that you guys have had that same experience and that you'll continue to have it still all these years later. All my closest friends from Williams are swimmers and divers, and we are so close, and we do so many things together still, swimming and hanging out. And I hope you guys, I'm sure you have the same relationships. I hope you do.
Yes. There you go, Katie.
Next,
Catherine Hartley. I just swam 400 IM with Celia, and butterfly, and I think a couple of relays. I can't remember if I was still on relays at that point. But I have to say it was fun to be part of such a great team. And it was kind of funny. My daughter swam at Tufts for a few years. She graduated in 2014, and she got to experience Williams, the evil empire from the other side. And it was always like that girl from Williams that beat her every time at NESCACs, or
Yeah.
she could not quite overcome.
Well,
anyone else?
I'll go. It's
Yeah.
Celia.
Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to see you guys. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of memories and I also forget a lot of stuff, but I don't remember what I swam in 82. I like partly, I guess, 400 IM.
Yeah, you
And
you beat me in the consolation finals.
200, I don't know, whatever it was either 400 IM, 200 fly, or 200 IM or relay. That's all I ever swam. So, but it was a blast. And when I was thinking about this tonight, I actually, honestly, when I thought about Canton, or was Canton, right?
In
What I
83.
remembered was
Canton
the
was
flight.
83. Yeah.
Oh, that was 83. Okay, what I remembered though was the flight in.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Canton. We were on this prop plane with like
Right.
15 seats. We were pretty much the only ones on the plane. It was terrible, terrible, terrible turbulence. And the cockpit was covered by like a curtain.
Yeah.
And we were getting really nervous. And then at one point the pilot came back. He looked like he was
With a
about
flashlight.
right, with a
Remember that?
flashlight.
Right.
He looked like he was about 15 years old.
Yes,
And I
in
think
a cardigan.
And Rachel, I think it was Rachel, were you, or it's Jonna, I don't remember, who he leaned over and put the flashlight out the window and said, "Can you see if the landing gear are down?" And then because he didn't know if the landing gear were down,
The
Yeah.
fire engines.
yeah, so he told us to take, no, remember you guys, he told us to take the crash position and we're
Yeah,
like,
we had to
raising
take the crash
hands.
position. Heads between our
then we'll-
knees.
Yes. And
Right.
then when we landed, there were like fire trucks going down the
Yes,
runway and
yes.
police cars. And then when we came out, there were like firemen to practically carry us out of the plane.
Right.
But we were
I thought
fine.
it was a welcoming committee.
Right.
Yeah,
Sounds even-
exactly.
And
That's even more
everybody
dangerous.
cheering.
I
That's even
have
more
to
dangerous.
say, yes, I have to say in that, as, looks back, it all looks so easy, right? But I can remember on that plane thinking, well, if we crash, I don't have to swim my events.
Do you guys remember in Canton, the team from Ohio, Kenyon, I guess?
Yeah.
It was
They
Kenya.
were warming up and they were going backwards in the lane, right to left instead of left to right like we all did. And we were like, fuck that shit. There's no way these guys are going to take over an entire lane for their own warm up. So we all lined up and we went right at them, like playing water polo. And we broke them up. And then they totally freaked out because we had messed up their mind thing. And that was the beginning of the end, for them. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
Well, then we had purple hair. We dyed our hair purple,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we
And we
dyed
wore
it, yeah.
T-shirts that said "pale, fat, and dot, 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 dot."
That was the year before. That was 82.
What?
That
Oh,
was
that?
82.
that was-
Great.
okay.
That was because we weren't as skinny and tanned as the Pomona girls.
Right.
Pomona
That's
people.
right. Oh my
Right.
God. You know what I also remember was Jonna always having the psych tape.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that? Or was
I
that?
just remember, she's so
These guys-
dull, we want to rip her to shreds.
Well, I
These
remember
guys probably
Hot-
have no idea. They don't know what a psych tape is.
Oh,
I remember
right.
Hot Rod
Oh my
had
God.
those. Catherine had the tapes.
Oh,
And we
it was
used to have to
Catherine.
argue about who we were going to listen to.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
you guys know what a tape is? Guys,
Oh, my.
Oh,
That's something.
yeah, I
How about if
remember.
we let some of the
Well-
current swimmers ask some of the alums about what they're doing these days or what they've done, and maybe we can develop some connections because as you all know, as alums, there's some very bright kids at Williams College. So we're trying to develop some connections here, and let's see what we can get from the current team members to spark some conversation with the alums about possible future goals or graduate schools, or just throw it out there and whoever's got experience will answer.
Go ahead, Bannon.
I just had a quick comment about when you say Canton, do you mean Canton, Ohio? That is
Yeah.
where my high school state meet is at. So I have experienced that
Oh,
pool, which has
really?
not changed in centuries. So I can envision all the chaos. And Kenyon is where my sister swims, and she says that they still swim opposite.
Oh,
direction.
that's a
Yeah.
good asshole move, by the way.
Yeah, so that's so cool that we got to swim in the same pool.
It's a nice pool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was 5 times bigger than ours. It's super nice.
I just
Yeah,
want,
wasn't it a pool that at least 2, maybe 3 high schools used? I think that's what it was. That whole community got together and financed that big pool, but it accommodated 2 or 3 teams, 2 or 3 schools.
I would say, Sam, when you were talking about our pool, you didn't mention that the diving practice would take place between lane 2 and 3. And you
Yes.
have to try to time your flip turn to not get hit by a diver. It's always fun.
And they would hit the
It,
ceiling. They would hit the ceiling too if they took
And
it too high.
the bottom.
right.
And the bottom. Other than that, though, it was awesome if you were a
It was
diver.
great. Do you guys remember when, like, a week before nationals, Sam would like turn the lights off in the swimming pool and we would do the dunking where we would just like bob up really
Yes.
Oh,
slowly.
yeah, you did bobbing off the
down.
bottom. Yeah.
I love bobbing. That was my favorite part of the year.
Right. Do you guys still do that, or is it too big a pool? Probably too big a pool, right?
How
That
many,
was awesome.
how many of you current swimmers are seniors or juniors? Let's see,
I don't know, Steve.
we got one, Carrie Ann's a senior.
4, 5,
Right.
6 maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are the seniors doing after graduation?
I'm going to med school.
Question. Oh, Gwyneth, you're the only one who knows.
What?
I said,
I didn't-
that's the
I
big
didn't hear that.
question.
Oh, I said I'm going to med school, but not sure where yet. So that's what I'm doing after graduation.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else have firm plans?
That's all at the MU and that's.
All I can say is don't worry if you don't have plans. I still don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me throw this out. I don't know if I've mentioned to any of you in the past, but I've tried over the years to encourage alums to come back and teach a winter study class. And I
Awesome.
mean that, I mean it seriously.
No, it's great.
It's, for one thing, it gives you a chance to give back to the college. The other is you can share with undergraduates a lot of experiences that you went through that got you to where you are. And in some cases, it sort of shortcuts things for people, and they don't have to go through the same agonies and all. So it's, and there've been a number who have done this. I think it's been worthwhile, so.
Great idea.
I can, you know, if there's any interest like that, please do consider it, because it would be terrific.
We
And
could
I'd
teach
get
them
to-
how, we could
I
do a
would
course.
Get to see you as well, so that would be
Yeah.
great. I'd like
could-
that.
A class in how to make a mixtape, which sounds like
Yeah.
clearly it's a lost
Yeah.
art, the science
Whatever-
and psychology.
Whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
I thought you were going to say a mixed drink, Catherine.
And then there's
Right.
that, right? That was an
Right.
important part of it.
Right, or
The
how-
daiquiris at the boat and meet.
right, or down in Fort Lauderdale, right?
Yeah.
Mm,
You guys
Um,
still go to Lauderdale? Do you
Steve, where
go?
do you
The
go,
van?
Harris?
Yeah, we've gone to Florida pretty much every year that I've been here. So we've mixed it up a little bit. The Hall of Fame closed for a couple of years, so we had to branch out elsewhere. That there's nothing that's nearly as convenient as the Hall of Fame, where you can just walk to practice instead of having to get in vans and drive 20 minutes or whatever. So that's been good. So I'll jump in with just a couple of things. And somebody mentioned daiquiris at Bowdoin. So I think Coach has a good. I know I've heard that one, but we still bob. We usually do it with the lights on, but we still bob.
Oh, you gotta turn the lights off. You
bobbing.
gotta turn the lights off.
We'll try that. I read in the comment somebody talking about Coach Sam driving around the Route 2 circle a couple of times, which sounds really fun. That's one of my, not a Route 2 because we're on buses all the time, and I haven't actually gotten the bus driver to drive around multiple times, so that's a great idea. But at NCAAs, I like packing the van on the last night and driving around, you know, the hotel parking lot with music on a bunch of different times, 5 or 6 times, just kind of end the meet. So I don't know if we've done that in anybody on the calls time, but that kind of reminded me of yeah, those are for sure some of the memories that stick out the most. And hearing you guys talk about, you know, obviously winning championships must be incredible, but the things probably you remember, some of you don't even remember events you swam, the stories, the airplane ride and the Coach Sam going around the Route 2. I mean, those are the things that I think I cherish the most are just those memories that get created that are separate from whether we win or lose or how fast people are swimming or how good a dive was. Those things obviously all matter, but I think just from having chatted with Coach Sam a little bit, that's one thing I've tried to take from him a lot. So Coach, I know you told me, and I think this has to do with the first time you were able to take women to the conference meet, I think, right? To a New England's. Wasn't that the one at Bowdoin? You drove in a station wagon. You were out to dinner the night before. Am I making things up, or do you have a good story about that you could share?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Sammer, I've got a good story for you that you may remember. You can tell or I'll tell it. Do you remember
Uh-oh.
when you almost got arrested? Rachel, you remember when we were singing Midnight Train to Georgia and we got all dressed up in these slinky dresses and we're in the hotel and we're making a racket? And Sammer, you were the one guy in the room and the police came in and they said, "What is going on in here and who is that pervert?"
He said, yes, he said, "Who is that pervert? That pervert in the corner."
Yeah.
Right, and I was there because I was concerned about what was gonna happen with the partying that was going on.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm sure Jana
No,
was
that was
there.
the truth.
If I remember, wasn't Charlie Butt there too?
Oh, yeah,
Charlie
I bet
Butt
he was.
was there.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amherst, right? Dunbar? What was his name?
Oh, Hank?
Hank Dunbar
Hank Dunbar.
with the ears.
Didn't
He
go
was a
anywhere
nice
without a
guy. He was a nice guy.
All right, here's a big question for you guys. Do you still do rinky dinks?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Oh yeah, good question. With the vodka relays.
All right, I want somebody to tell me what you guys do with rinky dinks now.
Yeah.
I can go. I don't actually want to go anymore because our coach is on the line.
Well, that sounds perfect. That sounds like the rinky dinks I remember.
I can
Yeah,
jump
that's
off
good.
and you all have a
That's a good
conversation.
start.
Coach, didn't you used to go to that?
The Rinky Dinks, of course.
Yeah, but he left early.
Oh, we had a great time.
He was a pervert.
Well, I disagree with that, but we had a good time.
He's not a pervert, he's a macho man.
We did it with-
The slideshow was
Oh, that
always,
was the best.
the highlights of the year.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, for
always
sure.
good. Yeah.
Who were the twins who set that up at the beginning? The men.
Who did
twins.
what?
The men twins who
The
set the
Beckers.
slideshow.
The
The Beckers.
Bill
Beckett's.
and Tom Beckett. No.
Yeah. They did a great job.
So do you guys still do a slideshow? Well, probably not a slideshow anymore, but
Right?
Like a TikTok or something?
So I have no idea what the party is, but when I first arrived, I remember hearing about the slideshow, and I think it was, I don't know what it was like when you guys were there, but I think it's somewhere along the line, it took a turn for a less than enjoyable occasion for most members of the team. So I don't know if that's been
Oh.
done away with or not, but it
What?
definitely has, I think, taken a turn. But I don't know. I've never been.
There was a little public humiliation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't negative.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, right?
It was fun.
It seems like Rinkies has kind of tamed down. I'll step up and say it. I'm a senior. I'm graduating. Sorry, coach. There's like four.
Wait, let me just say, it's funny if you guys think that I think that you guys are like, in the library on Friday nights and Saturday nights, like honestly, right? So, I mean, I did go to college.
That's fair. That's fair. There's about four or five locations every year, and you start off pretty early. Start off about 7 p.m. with your first location and your first beverage, and then throughout the night you move to each different location. Kind of stays, there's nothing else really outside of that, but I would be interested in hearing more about these relays that you've mentioned.
You don't have a relay between the freshmen and the seniors?
No,
Oh.
but it sounds interesting.
Gabriella, what
What can I say?
what are you interested in doing after you graduate?
After I graduate, I hope to go into the like advertising industry, do some just general work, either in account management or project management, but we'll see. I'm currently the director of communications at a nonprofit called Urban Beat, where we provide gardens to youth homeless centers in the DC area. So if anyone has any advice regarding networking in the DC area, farming, regenerative agriculture, my email is gmm5@williams.edu, and I would love to chat.
There's a connection.
That's awesome.
There's one, Sam.
Say again?
There was one connection right there.
There you go.
Anybody else coming to DC?
I live in Alexandria, which is just outside DC, but
That's what I've heard.
I'm an antitrust lawyer, so I go to the farmer's market, but that's about as good as I can get for that. But if you want to know about healthcare policy and antitrust, I'm your girl. So I would try to help you if I could. I just don't know anyone in ag, actually.
Yeah, I'm in DC too. I work for the railroads. I'm a lawyer and work for the railroad industry. So a little bit about ag, but not the part that you do. But happy to help connect you with other folks. If there's anyone who wants a DC connection, reach out.
Thank you.
I'm also in DC. Well, I'm sometimes in New Mexico and mostly in DC. And I'm in economic development and urban planning. And actually, urban gardens are huge. And DC has a lot of stuff going on. So I'd love to talk to you sometime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And if anybody is interested in the West Coast, I'm in renewable energy and energy storage. And I live in San Francisco, but I hire people across the country. So
If anybody wants to get out of the city, I'm up in Vermont, pretty much in the woods, and I'm a retired psychologist and a author and a Holocaust educator. So I don't know where that came from, but.
Are you near Burlington, Heidi?
No, I'm in Norwich. I'm right across the river from Dartmouth.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My son's at UVM, which is why I asked.
Well, my daughter's in Burlington, but she's not in school. She's just being in Burlington.
It's a great place.
Well, if anybody wants a house sitting gig in Park City, Utah, hit me up. I'm semi-retiring and getting onto our sailboat this summer. My last day of work is mid-April, so we'll be New England sailing, and I'll have an empty house here in Park City. So you guys who need a place.
Are you sailing across the Great Salt Lake or somewhere else?
Oh no, we're sailing in New England. We're gonna be in New England actually. So anybody guys in New England,
awesome.
Hit me up.
Oh, that sounds great.
Catherine,
That's beautiful.
Catherine, we're right by Dartmouth, Westport, Mass. Near.
Oh, you're kidding? Oh, our boat's in Westport.
Well, we live in Westport. So
No
let me know.
way! Oh my God. Okay, you're on.
All right.
Hey, Katie, say hi to Tom for us.
Will do. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have an awful lot I don't work. I'm lucky. And so I'm half-time in Sarasota, Florida. I'm half-time up in Massachusetts. And so I'm not really sure much help I could be, but if you ever need a place to stay in either place, let me know.
Well, Catherine could shuttle you from your place in Westport down to your place in Florida.
That would be good.
That would be awesome.
I'm Peg. I haven't said anything, but gosh, I got to tell all of my teammates how great it is to see you guys. I'm in Rochester, New York, and I do a little of this, a little of that, but my main passion has been the arts. I've been involved in art sales, and I'm a docent at our local art gallery. So anyone interested in the arts, I'm more than happy to talk with you. And if you find yourself in upstate New York, happy to help out there as well.
And I'll jump in. Rachel Stoffer, nice to see everyone. Sammer, it's great to see you.
Thank you. Great to
all
see
the rest
you
of
all.
the wonderful teammates. So I'm sure everybody's clamoring to move to Des Moines, Iowa, but that's where I live and have since '92. And I came to Williams from Iowa. So I've been in finance and investments my whole working career. So, you know, most of my connections are in Iowa. There's lots of insurance companies here though. So if anybody wants to get into that business, I certainly have connections. Again, it would all be Des Moines.
But there's a lot of ag there.
There is. There is. I know people in, if anybody wants to move to Des Moines, I'm sure I can make a connection almost anywhere.
Oh, great.
So, oh, sorry. I
Go
was
ahead.
just, has anybody had any random Williams encounters?
Well, I do. Kathy Permeyer and I randomly met in the Indianapolis pool in, what was that, 1998?
Wow.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
both-
that was Masters.
Yeah, Masters Nationals. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wow.
I highly recommend Masters, guys, by the way.
I'm still doing it too. My husband's the Masters coach here.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Yeah. So
I do
swimming.
masters and we swim, and sometimes I see Williams. In fact, last year, Steve Custer, I want to say Andrea Salmi and Isabel say hello. I swim with them. And so I've swum across Lake Tahoe and been at the Salmi's house where a
Wow.
Williams team has done the same.
Wow.
Wow. How cold was that?
You know what? Unfortunately, because of global warming, it's really not that cold. It used
Oh, I
to
thought
be.
it was like 57 most of the time.
No, I think it's in the 60s. I am swimming right now in 51 degrees, but I'm swimming with a wetsuit.
Oh,
Wow.
that's freezing.
Okay. Wow.
Fun.
Jimmy, that's freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I did masters, Harley, I did masters with you very briefly at Harvard pool. Do you remember that? You were doing Ironman, Iron Woman.
Yeah, if anybody's out in the Bay Area and wants to, swim in the Bay, look me up. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So just so the alums know how things have changed, every home meet when we have live sports is webcast, so you can watch how your favorite EVE team is doing on your computer. Also the NESCAC championships and the NCAA championships. And when I went to archives to gather some information about this evening, I was quite surprised at how little information there was, but I realized that back then it was a part-time sports information director, and it was part of the news office. So I'm not sure that there was actually a sports department in the news office, but things have changed so quickly now. Steve Custer in a normal season could probably pull up his phone and tell you the five fastest 100 butterfly people in the country at that moment, which could change, by Saturday night. Much more information, but maybe not as many great stories. So keep them coming.
It must be nice.
Can anybody comment? I saw in one mention, apparently in the early years, Smith College was quite a rival of the Eves in the pool. And there was
Not really.
a big
No.
showdown that was going to happen in Williamstown. And the men's team showed up in their quote unquote Mardi Gras attire. What was that all about?
I have
Nobody
no
remembers.
clue. It couldn't have been Smith.
Yeah, we didn't swim Smith.
Smith wasn't
Yep.
that impressive,
Yeah, he did.
actually.
No, we swam
Hey.
Smith early on. because-
Early.
But they didn't have a
won?
men's team.
No. it was just- yeah,
Oh, the
Didn't
men's
you say
team showed
men's
up
team?
dressed up.
our men showed up dressed up.
Um,
No
Oh, I
memory.
see. Okay. all
Must have
right.
been before my time.
I don't remember that at all.
It might have been our freshman or sophomore year, Liz, because
Really?
I remember you were swimming against Bella. Bella.
Bella, but there was that butterflyer from Smith who beat me, the fucking bitch. But
That was Bella.
I'm over it now.
What? No, you're not. You're not over it. You're
No, you're
clearly
not.
not over it.
Still not over
I'm
it.
not calling you a fucking bitch, even though you beat me by a thousandth of a second.
Yeah, we didn't take any of this very seriously at all.
No, it wasn't intense at all. No, Smith wasn't like a big deal.
No, just that one year. It was one time that we swam them.
Yeah.
What?
It's like Mount Holyoke. Remember when we swam Mount Holyoke?
Oh, geez.
MIT. Remember the girl with the.
Oh my God, right? And the women's water polo team was even worse. Holy crap.
Yeah.
They sucked so bad.
So to
They were
speak.
like dwarfs. I
Well,
mean,
we swam,
sorry,
didn't we
that's
swim
like-
Dartmouth our freshman year? And the Dartmouth women came out freshman year, we swam them, and they came out and we thought they were the East Germans because they looked like they had been taking steroids.
What me? What was it? We all dressed up as cheerleaders, and we were like in our cheerleader outfits for the men. Anybody
Oh.
remember that? We had pom poms and pigtails, and
Gosh, I don't remember.
we did that once. I know.
Mm-mm.
Idea.
So do you guys knit while you're at the swim meets?
Oh my God.
On the
Do
bus? On the
What
bus
did
to
you-
Bowdoin?
We have one knitter for sure.
Knitter. I'm a crocheter. I crochet on the way to swim meets. Yeah.
Excellent.
Great.
You're the guys team knitting.
I still think of Jonna every time I still knit, and every time I knit, I think of Jonna. I just can't. I don't know why. It's like in my head, knitting Jonna all these years later.
It's great. Oh my God.
So are the women's and men's teams still very social, close? Do you practice together and hang out together and all that? Got it.
Going back to knitting, Ann Day lives in town here, and she dyes all her own yarn at this point.
Wait, Ann Day from Williams?
Yeah, diver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she lives here in town with me, and well, not with me, but with me.
Yeah.
And you know, she grows her own herbs and uses them to dye her own yarn.
Awesome. Tell her hi.
Okay, I don't know why she's not on the call. So I don't know why I am on the call, because I know at any point I am Queen Lunch Bag. So I don't make points for the team. I just try to keep the atmosphere light. That was my job. So
You did it well.
Absolutely.
thanks, Sam.
So, Coach, I gotta ask, since nobody on this call except for you and your 82, 83 team members have ever won a team title. I've got a bunch of trophies, none of them gold. Tell us what's the key. What do we need to know? What am I missing? What do we got to do?
You need a slideshow. You need a slideshow.
And a psych tape.
And a mixtape.
They don't have tapes anymore, but they do.
You gotta knit. You gotta knit and dye your hair.
If it takes me going to Rinky Dinks, I'll go.
And you have to practice in a 4-lane pool.
Yeah.
With hairball.
With divers.
I think what Steve is faced with more, it's already started, it's not something new. But recruiting has become a real big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of this, as far as the league is concerned, is totally dependent on what status the team has. I don't remember, you can correct me, any of you, but I don't remember really literally writing to people or getting in touch with people. I considered myself more of a reactive recruiter, and the interest being initiated by the candidate, and then having an opportunity to talk about what Williams had to offer. And a lot of it was academic. I remember saying to Catherine, she was one hell of a swimmer before coming to Williams, and we talked. I remember talking about that with her, and saying if swimming is really of greater importance to you than your academics, then you should go and get it paid for, and go Division I in a program that you can fit into. If it's academics, that is primary, your reason for going to college, and swimming becomes part of that, then we have something we can talk about, as I can talk about that academic side. And I think that there's a common attitude, feeling, acceptance, agreement that Williams has a great deal to offer in that sense, in the academic side of things. And you can see it in in the candidates, like even the undergrads who are on this thing tonight, the interest that they have, the aspirations that they have. These are, pretty interesting, pretty interesting environment to be in, and I can, cite a number of environments where that doesn't exist at all. And so I think we've been a step up on a lot of programs, but it's gotten to the point where if you don't have the bodies, you're going to be in deep trouble. You got to recruit like crazy. And the coach of Virginia, I mentioned this earlier, a fellow who I coached as a freshman at Springfield, he's retired now. He was a coach at North Carolina, Wilmington. And he had as one of his swimmers, the fellow who's a coach at Virginia now. And we've been in touch and talking about the difficulties, the challenges that people have. Right now, that coach of Virginia can practically persuade anybody to go to Virginia of any swimming ability. And I understand he's going to have one hell of a freshman team next year. And the men have been less than what the women are. And it's going to change the men's program. But you got to go out and beat the bushes and stuff. And I refuse to do that. I'm not interested in that. But it happens to be what's going on. And so for what that's worth.
Coach,
You want to talk about your recruiting?
Well,
Say again?
You'd probably be, Coach Sam, you'd probably be shocked by the fact that by March of people's junior year, right? I've been in touch with recruits who have said already, March of their junior year, I've committed to an Ivy. So, and ours is much later than, lacrosse is earlier, soccer is a little bit earlier, but it's to your point, that part's crazy. I'm glad we're not in that boat. We have things in place where we can't do anything until July, just before somebody's senior year, but it's crazy. The recruiting is crazy.
Well, I don't think I mentioned this either, but when I first came to Williams, I was not totally aware of this until after I was here for a while, but there was really no interest in going postseason. Okay. And I think some of it was related to the fact that with swimming prior to 1937, going to a national championships, only individuals scored. In 37, starting in 37, they started a point system for teams. And, but that idea of individual perception maintained itself. My first year here at Williams, there were 2 seniors who made cuts to go to nationals. They were going to be at Michigan State. And I had to go in, Jack Sawyer was the president at the time. And I made arrangements to meet with him. And I think there were 2 or 3 other people there. And to make a case for giving these 2 guys an opportunity, because they were interested, to give them an opportunity to swim at nationals. And there was only 1 national championships. And so they did allow that to happen, but reluctantly. And they, in the following year, well, one of the 2 people was a diver, and he was a junior when he went to Michigan State. Then nationals were held at Dartmouth. They just had finished their new pool, and he made cuts for diving there, and that was a little bit easier to persuade them because it didn't cost as much. I don't know what the situation is financially today, but we certainly didn't gain any weight on the kind of meal money that we had.
Sam, I remember.
It was a real struggle.
Sam, I remember we, on the first nationals I went to my freshman year in Reno, we were putting our lunch money in the slots, playing the slots with our lunch.
AIAW didn't pay for any meals, remember? Sophomore, we paid our airfare to nationals, and the hotel and the food.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was we had to pay for it.
Yeah, it wasn't until junior NCAA.
Let me tell you another story. I was really impressed with when I came here to Williams, really impressed with the fact that all athletes on Friday night had a special steak dinner. Okay, this was all part of the routine every Friday night. And those steaks were the best I had seen. As time went on and money got shorter, that steak changed a little bit. And it finally ended up where we were getting hamburgers. And the last year that we got hamburgers on Friday night, they were so overcooked, we call them hockey pucks. And it ended the whole program of paying attention to people's diets and all this kind of stuff. That all ended. And so money is where it is. It's just like having 3 divisions now of swimming. That was made possible by the NCAA. They made so much money, they had to spend some of it. I don't think they had a place to keep it. And so we had this opportunity to swim on a national level, which was terrific. It was a good thing, even have transportation paid for. I think that still exists. And I think the meal money is better than what it was way back then. And then we always traveled in vans and cars. We come back from Bowdoin, for example, about 3:30 in the morning, roll into town, and I was expecting to be picked up by the police, wondering who is this dude with all these women in this van, and that never happened. But we had some really tough times. They were really something. I was trying to think of where we were. There were casinos.
I think that was Reno, Sam.
Pardon me?
I think that was Reno.
Reno, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We went to Reno one year and we had, I think there were like 7 or 8 who made cuts. And so before getting on before that day that we were to get on the plane, I said to everybody, now I want you to pack, in addition to whatever other clothes you are going to be wearing, some dinner clothes and high heels. And everybody's looking at me wondering, what the hell is that all about? And I said, we're going to Reno, and what I'm going to do is take you out to dinner Saturday night, and then we're going to go to the biggest casino we can find in Reno. And so we did exactly that. I think we had three taxis that were packed with people. Everybody is stumbling on their high heels and all, and I'm yelling, straighten out. And, you know, we want to get into this building. I want you to look like you're 21, you know. And so down to the casino we go. It was midnight and no one was there. And I asked whoever we ran across, and they said, well, things don't start till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so we said, we'll wait. And so we were by the stairwell, and I said, well, what we'll do is meet around 4 o'clock, be here at 4 o'clock, and then we can decide what we'll do after that. We have to get a plane at, I think it was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So we won't have much time to pick up our clothes and get over to the airport. And so I said, I'm not a gambler. I'll probably play the one-armed bandits and stuff. And if you feel uncomfortable, we can hang out together. So I said, well, we'll see you at 4 o'clock. And everybody disappeared. I was standing there by myself. And so I went over and started playing the one-armed bandits. At 4, everybody came back. Everybody made a couple of $100. I lost 50. And they didn't want to leave. And so we hardly put our head on our pillows at the hotel when we got back to the hotel to get our clothes. And obviously we slept on the plane, but we had one hell of a nice time. And one of the highlights of going to a national championships, as far as I was concerned, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Swam pretty well, I thought, as well. So that was good stuff.
Hey, Steve, I just wanted to say to the current swimmers in regard to recruiting, I think for me anyway, when I came to visit Williams, I had never even heard of Williams, and I spent the weekend with Karen Walker, and she brought me to swim team parties, and I met pretty much the whole team. And then I said, okay, that's where I'm going. I think it's really important for prospective students to get a good taste for what swimming is like at Williams, as far as the family aspect of it, how close everybody is, the academic aspect of it, and just, you know, having fun, but also realizing that you're not going to make a living doing this. So just, you know, come and have fun and be part of a really good family.
You know, for sure. I think that's one of the things we try to, we have recruits in for a weekend in an ideal world, obviously not in the last year, but usually Thursday night through Saturday morning, get to do a class. And yeah, I think one of the things that whether the recruits end up here or not, one of the impressions they leave with is how involved the team is with one another, how much they care about one another, you know, all the way from seniors to freshmen. It's not like a first year gets the recruit and that's the only person they see. You know, we try to really, I agree with you. I think we try to really sell that. And also to Coach Sam's point earlier, the, you know, academics are the thing you come in and do that first and foremost. And if that's not what you're looking for, then for sure, this is not, you know, this is not the right place. And while I have a second, just before, I don't know if we're wrapping up or not, but I just want to say it's been great to meet you all who set the bar so high for us and for everybody who's come since you. I mean, congrats, seeing as this is perhaps the first time I'm seeing some of you. Super impressive. It's been really cool to have your accomplishments out there in front of us and being able to chase them. You guys for sure led the way, obviously for Williams, who's won a ton of national titles since you guys, but also for all the EVE women who have come since you guys. So that's first. So it's great to meet you all. And then I just want to say a quick thanks to Coach Sam. You know, every time I interact with him, it's wonderful. I walk away from every interaction with him with this just kind of warm, fuzzy feeling. I don't know if he has that impact on everybody, or maybe it's just the coaching piece of it, but he also obviously created an unbelievable program here that I like to think that I have thankfully not screwed up too much. So Coach, thank you as always.
Yeah, you haven't screwed anything up, so get over that. The program has been going along very well. I think from the very beginning, you know, there've only been 4 coaches, full-time coaches here, and Steve being the 4th one. And a fellow named Graham was here before Bob Muir. And even though the teams were quite small, and back in those days, there were only 3 competitive strokes that were swum, which automatically reduced a number of events as compared to what's going on today. Williams always, well, to use the term again, rose to the occasion. There's something about this environment that, well, in many ways, I think of it as Williams has a draw for those kind of people. I sometimes think I can look at someone and determine where they went to school. And you can almost tell certain people come from certain environments. And here at Williams, it's a very special group, and that was only improved upon, enhanced upon when we went co-ed. Everything was done so well. It wasn't as difficult, say, as Dartmouth's reaction to going co-ed. They went bananas, having to have women on campus. And I think to this day, there's still some of that feeling. That didn't exist here. There might have been some differences of opinion on the part of some alums, but it wasn't severe like I've seen in other places. And I think the only mistake that was made when we did go co-ed is they forgot women's toilets and the whole campus. And so they had to quickly correct that situation. And I don't know if this is going to get out and publicized, but I hope not. But it was really quite funny when we found that was basically the only mistake that was made. And so I'd say, given that, information, we didn't do too bad. Williams didn't do too badly. So.
Can
There we go.
I just say that I think that in 82 and 83, the women's team, like the men's team, we all had to struggle with a small pool and really bad climate and, you know, little to no financial support, you know, for going to Williams. But we chose Williams because it offered this wonderful combination of an excellent education and a really supportive family atmosphere that Katie described for the swim team that was both fun and energetic and sexy and challenging, and it allowed us to be individuals and yet also part of a team. And it has always been one of the fondest things I've ever done in my whole life. And it is such an honor to be among you now. So thank you.
You're here.
I totally agree with you, Liz. You're right on. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to see you,
Oh.
Sam. I love you so
Oh.
much.
Oh, dear.
And I
Good to
miss
see you
Mrs.
all.
Sam,
Oh.
by the
Yeah.
way.
Say again?
God bless Mrs. Sam. I'm so sorry. And I miss her so
Yeah.
much.
Well,
But she was
I as well.
wonderful.
You know,
She was a big part of the team.
we had,
Just
let me just say this to you. We had a great run.
Yes,
Oh, the two of us
Totally.
had a great time.
totally.
We did a lot of things together that included what was going on at Williams, and she became a good part of all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I found people to totally agree with me when we were having these upper respiratory infections going on, and it did happen occasionally in a big way at the college. And the pool is, even though you're chlorinating it, it's a site for lots of infection. So I insisted that people go to, well, what we call the infirmary at the time. It became more positive about it later. But I said, you've got to go. You're paying for it. See the doctor. And my wife is the secretary to the director. Just keep in mind, before you leave, get a hug from her, because this will make a big difference in your life. And son of a gun, if everybody who came back said, Sam, you're right. I feel a hell of a lot better. And I said, well, there you are. Well, it was a wonderful connection that we had. That was a lot of fun. So we had some good times.
And I might say, Sam, that she would even help you out if you weren't sick, having gotten a doctor's note from her for skipping class.
Oh.
Because they all hated a certain professor, and so when he announced that if you weren't at class, you were going to fail, I went straight to the infirmary and then was told to tell everybody else to come to the infirmary. They'd be happy to write a note.
Sure.
It was the 80s, people. It was
Those were the days.
Yeah. I was really sick, wasn't I, Mrs. Sam? Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And I remember when my mom called the infirmary to say, my daughter's really sick and do not let that coach let her swim. And your wife said, that's my husband.
Yeah. Oh my. Well,
Nancy was
I
awesome.
know she would have loved to see you guys.
Yeah.
This would have been very special.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look up in the stars and say hi to her.
There you go. I
Well,
appreciate that.
Sam, aren't we going to have something as soon as we can up at Williamstown?
Well, there's been discussion about it. We've got to wait till everything is,
Yeah.
you know, all of these restrictions are over. Well, if you don't
I
mind,
think
let
before
me-
we leave,
if you
I'll do
don't
a
mind, let
group
me
hug.
just mention something. Okay. With this COVID, you know, it was a disappointment that not enough people, you know, were allowed to come to the funeral. And, but I'll tell you, we were allowed to have 25 there in total, and it was all family from Connecticut and a few up from Detroit and whatever. But it was so nicely done. I mean, the college has been wonderful, is wonderful. She's buried there at the college cemetery. We have plots there, all made possible by the college. And I mean, what is there not to like about that? It was just wonderful. But there is, from what I understand, some interest in wanting to get together more collectively to celebrate her life. And we'll see. I hope that maybe that'll happen, but we'll see how that goes. And if it does, I'll see you up front and personal. And I look forward to that. This has been a very nice situation. And I want to thank Dick for his interest, and he's a very creative guy. Dick Quinn made that his program. I want to mention that to you. Before him, there wasn't much going on in terms of sports information, and he changed all of that. So he's made this possible, which I appreciate very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
And keep in mind now, if ever you come this way, give me a heads up, won't you? I'm at Sweetwood, great place. I told John Chandler, lives here. I told him today at lunch that this was happening. So he was all excited and hoped that it would go well, and which it has, I think. So I'd like nothing more than to have a chance to see you all. It would be great. And to Steve, we'll see what happens next season. You know, in the fall. I hope that that we can get through what we're going through right now and get back more to a norm, because this has not been a good thing. But we'll persevere, I guess. And we'll be there to see you and the team, both teams swimming. I look forward to that.
And with that, thank you all. Take care.